Alright, so I've relocated into a different room because there's a really intense game of Minecraft happening in the other room with my son and his friends on their devices in separate homes. But hopefully we can talk about Stonewall here without too much interruptions. So we've got two clips that are awesome for setting up the Stonewall riots and then looking at what happens after the Stonewall riots. But that film doesn't do a very good job of actually, I can't find a good kind of like short clip about Stonewall itself because I didn't want you to have to spend too much time watching films. So I'm going to explain it to you as I would if we were in class. So and in class I do show the two clips that you've got here. So the first clip, what I like about that one is it sets up what life is like for LGBTQ people prior to Stonewall. And the second clip sets up what life was like after the Stonewall riots. So, as the clip notes, there were all sorts of ways to criminalize homosexuality. You had to, they would police would raid bars, and if there was like indecent behavior and two women dancing together or two men dancing together, kissing could have been deemed indecent, and you get arrested, and then your name would be published in the newspaper, and it would note where you had been arrested, and it would be basically a public outing, and you're going to lose your job, your family, right? Because people associate homosexuality with sickness in this period, and so. It was June of '69, and it's all these other movements have been happening. It's also summer. Tempers are like more likely to erupt, and so the police show up to the Stonewall bar, and they began arresting people, as typically happened. But this time, it didn't go the way it usually did. Usually, the police officers would check your ID. And if you've been engaged in this this law-breaking activity of homosexuality, you would they put you in the paddy wagon and you'd be sent to jail. This evening, they were checking people's IDs, and they were if they hadn't caught them in this activity, they then released them. And usually, when that happened, if you got to leave, if they let you out, you were just so thankful that you didn't get arrested, that you just got out of there as fast as you could. But this night, again, for whatever reason, as people were told to leave, they started congregating outside the bar, and they filled up several of the paddy wagons. Now, as is often the case, there were dozens and dozens of people there, so there's dozens and dozens and dozens of stories about how this initiated. And some people say that it was a lesbian by the name of Stormy. You've got these names on your outline. Who they arrested her. They ran out of the room in the paddy wagons, and they arrested her. They put her in one of the cop cars. She got out of the car. She ran into the bar. They grabbed her again, put her back in a cop car. She got out of the cop car, went back into the bar. Apparently she did this 3 times. And then, according to some eyewitnesses, the third time, when they're putting her back in the car, apparently she looked at the crowd that had gathered and was like, "What are you guys doing?" And trying to get people to do something. And some people say that was it, that erupted. Others say it was a woman by the name of Marsha Johnson, who a trans woman of color who had got in her bag. There was a construction site nearby, and she grabbed a few bricks, put them in her bag, and then kind of shimmied up a light post, and then dropped the bag of bricks on a police officer's car. And then people that are there that night said that was the spark that initiated it. And then they also put another woman on there, another trans woman of color, Sylvia Rivera. She's also on your outline. She was there that evening, and when asked maybe you shouldn't be doing this, this is kind of risky. She's like, "Are you kidding? This is the revolution." And so the point is that people that night knew that they were something had changed. And so the police officers get so like taken aback. They go back into the Stonewall. They're kind of going to be like basically trapped in there for several hours. Then the riot police will show up and disperse the crowd. But before that happens, people spray painted on gay power and just kind of positive slogans about gay identity and homosexuality. And the next night they come back again. And so this is the spark. This is what's called the Stonewall riots. And from this point forward, a movement ignites to a stronger movement. We talked about the Mattachine Society and the Daughters of Believus being formed just after World War II, but this movement is of a younger generation, and they're got all these other movements. They've seen the positive effects of all these other movements, and they're bringing that now to their own experience. And so a lot of the slogans that we think of today, like coming out of the closet, come from this period. We are everywhere was another slogan to try to normalize homosexuality, if you will. Like, we are your teachers, your firefighters, your police officers. And the movement did actually meet with some success. In 1973, homosexuality will be taken off the DSM, the manual that's connected with mental illnesses. Homosexuality will be removed from that. We will see, though, when we get to the 1980s, that there is going to be a backlash to a lot of the social progress that was made in the 60s. So we'll see a backlash to this when we get to the 80s, but we can be positive right here in the late 60s, early 70s, and the gay rights movement is meeting with some success. All right, if you've got any questions, put those in the discussion module. Take care.